G'day guys. Today's just going to be a box opening and a review on the Adventure Kings generator 2kVA, and I'm also going to do a more in-depth, and I'm going to show you how to top the oil up, what oil to use and how to get into there, because when you buy them they don't come with oil, and if you try and start them they just will not start. Now they're a pure sine wave, 2 ports, and they also come with a 12 volt battery charger, and it's got a cigarette plug so you can run off some items like your fridge and whatever. So let's get started. Now I'd like to also mention that I'm not getting paid by Adventure Kings or Kings Adventure or for the 4x4 Super Center. This is my review of the generator. I've noticed that there's a few videos out there that actually shows people running them, but it doesn't show much about in-depth. So my video is going to show you more in an in-depth on the Adventure Kings generator. So here we go. So now, comes with a screwdriver, a spark plug remover, and what it looks like, a spare fuse. Might need that a bit later on. Now, just have to switch camera. Now I just put my camera on wide so that way you can see it a lot better. So, remove all your packaging. And that's what you get there. So it also tells you that there's no oil in the machine, so read carefully, read all your instructions. Now you can use your standard unleaded for this generator. I like to use premium regardless, and I wouldn't be using any of that ethanol fuel or anything like that, or the E10. In all my petrol machines I always use high quality fuel, so we'll go from there. So there's your instruction manual. Just tells you how to run it, all your starting procedures, so have a read through that. That way that can also give you an idea and bit of idea on how to run it smooth, any problems, diagnostics, anything like that, which is pretty handy. So now, starters, you can get your screwdriver. It comes with everything that you see here. That's to charge batteries, and that just plugs straight into that port there. So now you're going to take the side cover off, so that way you can actually top it up with oil. Now I'll show you this one first. This is not where the oil goes, this is where the spark plug is. So we don't need to remove this, but I would like to show you, that's where your spark plug is. So just in case you can't start it, or you need to clean it, or you need to replace it down the track, that's where your spark plug is kept. So now, for starters, what we've got to do is put oil into the machine. So spin it around, and you've got to take this side cover off. So this one, it's got like a little primer pump in there. So you need to take this side off. Comes with a screwdriver, so use your screwdriver and take the side cover off. And make sure you actually use the appropriate oil. Now when I bought this, I was actually given a litre of oil for it, so I've got that here. So but what if you need to get some oil for it, I'm pretty sure this is a 1030 watt grade, and it actually shows you on the side cover here, so I'll show you that there. It actually shows you right there. 10 watt 30. So now this uses 700 mils of oil. So this is your little oil. Your oil cap right here. And it should have your little gauge. Now it's got a little bit of oil in it, only because when they do the pre-testing and those stages. So that's some oil. So now this is the oil that they supplied me, a 10 watt 30 motor oil. And what you're going to need is a funnel. So might be a bit tricky, but you just have to put in 700 mils of oil, or until it shows up in the little gauge. Make sure your seal and your O-rings are good, so that way there's no leaks. And now, time to put the oil in. Now I've got 1 litre. It does say on the cover that it takes 7.5 mils of oil. Yep. So now what I'll do is I'll tip it. And just want to get it right there. It's a bit hard to try and show you, running everything by a GoPro. Make sure it's a clean funnel, so that way no contaminants go in there. Now before starting, it probably will take about 20 pulls for it to actually crank over. And I've just put a bit too much oil in there at the moment, as you can see. Just hanging on edge, so I've just got to remove that a bit. Now I've got the right amount of oil. Topped it up a bit too much, so you don't need a lot. You just need it so it's just going to drip on the little dipstick that's there. Screw that back up. Make sure it's firmly tight. Make sure there's no oil spillage or anything out like that. It's a little tray where it actually comes out if you do overflow it. And that should be all good. Now while I've got this open and the oil is already done, I'm going to show you how to clean and maintain the air filter. Now this here is the air filter. Take a bit of work to get it off. So you want to take this one off. Now this is just after a while, or after use, or if you're doing a lot of camping and that, and it's real dusty climate and that. Now this is the filter. Now over time, if you're camping and there's a lot of dust build up, you need to give these a good wash. Clean them out in a bit of light solvent, give it a good wash and squeeze it out dry. Once it's all dried, bang it out, then you can put it back in. Now don't need to push it in real hard, just push it in nice and firm so that way it just sits in there, and then you can put your cover back on. Like I said, you don't, after a while of using it, I think it's like 20 hours, after about 20 to 48 hours, you got to give everything over a check over. With your oil, if the machine runs out of oil, it won't start or automatically stop. But if there's a leak, then you should find out, you got to find the leak and work out where it's coming from. So make sure that's all fine, that's all back on, and that your oil is pretty firm. Do apologise about the camera, it's a bit hard to try and show you guys when I've just got the camera on me. Now put your cover back on, put your screws in. So like I did say before, when you've just got it and you've just first started to use it, it's probably going to take about 20 pulls to get it actually going. And when the fuel has been emptied, you give your primer pump 6 times. You shouldn't need to use that at all. Just make sure your fuel's turned on and then give it a few pumps, but only use it when it's been sitting there for a long time or you're having problems trying to start it, and always start it with the choke off. Now it's got 2 ports, which is real handy, and they look like they're 10 amp, so you can run a caravan or welding equipment off it. With this one, because it is 2 kVA or a rated output of 1.7, I wouldn't recommend using a welder for this one. Once it's all back in there, it's all back together, the oil's done. For very first startup, it's probably going to take 20 pulls of this to get it running. Don't forget to pump the bulb 6 times and pretty much just run good, decent fuel in it. The max output is 2000 watts, but the rated output for it is 1.7. So it's only single phase and 224 volts. Now, with this one, it's got the cigarette lighter, so you can run lights and that, but LED lights, if you're running LED lights with the 12 volt from the generator, you're probably going to find that it's going to flicker. So the best way to stop that is to just get a 12 volt battery, put your lights onto the 12 volt battery, and then have the generator charge your battery up. So you won't have any flickering or distorting or anything like that. You can run your USB chargers, iPhone chargers, or anything like that you use. That is safe. You can't light a cigarette with it, so don't go trying. So I'll take this outside, we'll put some fuel in it, make sure all your ports are all clean, no foam in it or anywhere, and we'll give it a go. Something that you should look into for your instructions is your periodical maintenance. It tells you how daily checks that you should do, when you should replace the oil, or when you should replace your filters, your air cleaner, anything like that. It will all say in here. I can fill it up a lot more. I think I'll just leave it like that. It must be a really big tank. Oh, I'm nearly full. So now put your cap on, and on here make sure that the valve is actually open so it can breathe, or it's just not going to start for you. So start it all up, make sure that your engine switch is on, and your econ switch. Econ doesn't really matter, like you can turn it on or off. Leave it in the off position, just make sure your engine switch is turned on. Turn your fuel on, make sure your fuel is on and your choke, and just press your primer button 6 times. Now we're going to pull. So like I did say before, it's probably going to take about 10-20 times to pull the cord to get it running. So we'll find out. Once it's running, push it straight over to run. And turn eco on to quiet it all down. Let it run for a bit, let the oil get it running for a little bit. Probably let it run for about 5-10 minutes. Just so everything can get going before you actually start putting it to use.